In this video, we're going to open up the new C184 RC ERA MD500 and see what's inside, and also have an understanding of how to open this up. I'm not going to fast forward a lot of the screw openings, so if you like, you can fast forward yourself, but I'd like to go through the whole process here. So I start by removing the main blades. It would be good if you mark each blade as to where, which blade grip it's coming off from. Number them 1, 2, 3, 4, so that you put it back like you took them off. So let's say this was number 1. We'll place number 1 on this one. Okay. Number 2. 2 on this one. 3. 3 on this one, and 4. This way, at least you have a method as to where you took it off from, and etc. There's been a lot of talk on what main motor this helicopter has, meaning whether it's brushless or brushed. The factory has since confirmed that it's brushed, and initially on their website they had it as brushless, which is not right. However, the C032, the UH1D Bell Huey, that has a brushless motor apparently as the main motor. So maybe there was a confusion there. Okay, so take the blades off. This just pulls off friction fit, and it's obvious which way it goes. The colored lines are on the outside. Take the fins off. Again, make sure you keep the screws in a safe place. Don't lose them. This just comes off right there. Proceed with the landing gear coming off. I'll show you the gear, how to replace the gear, how to replace the main shaft, how to replace the motor. We'll go through all that here. Interesting how some of them don't want to come out, but we'll get it out. The screw is here, stuck inside. Okay, so now you are to open the rest of the screws. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this side, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this side, and 6 at the tail end here. Start on this side. Note what size they are, the screws that come out, so that you could, okay. I also like to order a set of screws, spare screws for each heli. These screws are easily lost during maintenance or any kind of crash you might have. So far they're all the same size. That's good news. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. And we'll go on this side. Good, all the same size so far. Again, same size. So far they're all standard, same size, which is great. Again, it's good news that RC ERA is standardizing a lot of this stuff. I like to see that. That means less expensive helicopters to make, and hopefully that savings is transferred to us. I like the fact that they're going bind and fly. That's another savings for everybody. So I'm taking all these screws out, and all the screws so far have the same size on the body. So we're going to keep them all. It looks like the landing gear screws are more coarse. Okay, so the landing gear screws are more coarse. I'm going to put them with the landing gear here. The rest of the screws are more, they're all the same actually, so I'm going to keep them together. Put it here. Okay, now let's split this apart. And up here, you'll see the motor will come apart right there. Gently. Maybe there's one other screw somewhere. Yeah, there's one in the front here. We're going to take out. Okay, so this comes across just like that. You can see that you have this is the exhaust that would fit. There's a point that just fits like that when you put it back together. You may want to use some sort of glue to hold it in place when you put it back, because otherwise it's going to be a little bit difficult to put the sandwich back together. So let's see what's what inside. Okay, so obviously, okay, this half comes off, and I'm going to make sure all the screws are out so that we don't lose them. Okay, all the screws are out on this side and on this side. Okay. So the way this fits, you could see how these grooves go in place. You see that right around here, that groove, and back here, you'll see where the main frame sits in. You can see it sit into that groove when you put it back together. So it fits. Don't push it too hard together because there's some grooves it has to fit in and another one up here. So up here, you match up here and down here, put it together, and then the other half would go on. Now let's look at what's here. This is your optical flow sensor. Okay? This is your brushed tail motor. And then the wiring for the tail motor comes and goes into your, 2-in-1 board, which is the ESC/control board. Then you have your light here, the LED light that goes also into the input to the control board. So in order to, this comes out, very simple, it just comes out. There's a groove in here that you can fit it in, and just take it out for now. And you can also, the light just comes out. It normally just fits here, just fits in that, it has a position that it just fits inside. You just lift it off, so you have some access now. Now you can see what this thing looks like. This is the board. This is the brains of the helicopter. This has a brushed motor. Okay, so no more mystery. It's a brushed motor. These are the servos. These are the cyclics. This is the aileron. That's the pitch. And then the third elevator is the third servo is the elevator in the back. These are the links connecting to the swash plate. And then the swash plate is connected to the arms that go to the blade grips. These are the blade grips. Excellent. And here is the motor driving this gear. So a lot of times in your crashes, this is what strips. Either this shaft breaks or this shaft bends. These links can break. Okay, so you would have to open the helicopter up like this and have access to this. In order to remove this gear, you see that screw? That comes off, and this thing just slides off. Okay? To replace the motor, there are two screws here, up here, that are holding the motor down. You open these two screws, and this thing just slides out. Okay? To replace any of the servos, you have to open this. There are two screws, one here and one here. You open them up, this comes out, and these servos are only sitting in a slot. They lift out. And you could take the wiring off, which is connected to the board here for each servo, and reconnect the new servo and put it back in place. Very simple. Once you open it, you have access to it, and it's pretty simple. That's about it on this helicopter. For replacing the tail motor, same thing. This tail motor just slides out of where it's in here, just like that. And you take the wiring out. The wiring goes into the board, plugs right there, and you take it out. Wait, was that it? Let's see if that's the right one. No, the wiring, the motor is right here. Sorry. The motor is, I think, this one here. You have to trace it. It's this first one. Lighting is self-explanatory. You know, this lighting you can replace. Even the whole board you can replace by, it's it's screwed in. You'll see the screws. There are 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, and then there's a 4th screw on that side. I think. Let me double check. I think there's 4 screws. You can't. No, there's only 3 screws. 3 screws. So it's 1, 2, and 3, and it comes out. I think this here, this is the gyro board itself, and I think this one here is the ESC. So it's a 2-in-1 controller board. Very simple operation. Now, if you need to replace the shaft, if the shaft is bent, you open that screw that I told you, take out the gear, and you have to open up the you have to disconnect these links. They snap off. If you turn it, it snaps off. Even with your finger, you can snap it off, and then put it back on, and then this assembly comes out, all of it, and then you just disassemble the links, put a new shaft in, and you're on again. This bolt up here is called the Jesus bolt. There's one bolt here that connects the head to the shaft. So instead of talking to it, let me just show you what I'm saying about taking the links off. The way I would take the link off is grab it and turn it, and it just comes right out. You see that? Really not hard. Same with this side. Don't press it too hard. Just turn it a little bit, and it comes right off. Both comes off. Same, and to put it back in, you put it on the link, and you press it straight down, and it clicks. See, hear that? Same here. It just goes click. But it's very delicate, so you have to be patient and take your time. It's like working in jewelry. Put this back on. So you would take all these links out first, disconnect them, and open this screw and pull out the shaft. So let me do it for you. I don't need to replace it right now, but I'm going to do this so we see how it's done. Okay, this came off completely. And the elevator one is the back here. Clicks right off. Okay, next I'm going to open the screw. It's a very thin screw, so you're going to need to just pull it out. Okay, it's very thin. Don't lose it. Okay, and then you can see the shaft. You might need something to pull it out. See, you press it like that. Just lift it. It comes right out. Okay? And it's idiot proof because there's only one way you could put this in. Okay? And there's a groove there, you could tell. You see that? Let me show you. You see that one side of it is flat and then round. That's how it fits onto this shaft. So you would fit it back in there. So now you just press this out, and here comes your shaft. Okay? That's simple. The shaft comes out. You have another screw here for the collar. You can open up, and this slides out. And then you open the Jesus bolt up there, and this head comes out completely. then you have your shaft. Okay, then you replace it with a new shaft. So let me show you. Take out the color. This screw is not coming out. Okay. So anyways, you have to, all the shafts come with a new color. To access the top, you do the same thing. Link, open these links. They pop right out. Okay, so you want to have access to the screw, the Jesus bolt. Comes out. Comes out. So now your swash plate is free. You have access to your Jesus bolt. It's another very tiny screw that you have to be careful, just like the gear. That's why it's important to get some spares for this, spare screws, because all it takes is losing one screw and then it's very hard to find these screws unless you have, see, this is the Jesus bolt. It's longer than this is the one for the gear, and this is the one that's longer for the shaft connecting the head assembly. So after you take that bolt out, this comes right out. So this is your head assembly, and your swash plate comes out too. This is your swash plate. Now this is the shaft, and it normally comes with a collar. You would just replace the shaft by taking it apart, and then you take the new shaft, you put your swash plate on there, and you put your head assembly on there. You have to line up the screw point for the Jesus bolt and make sure you have it the right way. You'll see when you have yours open, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's one way the screw goes in. Takes a little bit of an effort, but that's fine because you have to line it up properly. Line up all these. This helicopter is rotating clockwise, so all the links are going to be on the clockwise side of this rotation. That's one way of making sure. And on the shaft, you can't go wrong because one side has a flat spot, okay? So I'm trying to show you all the different issues that you might have in putting this together. Okay, so now we're going to take that long screw and screw it back in. It could be tedious. Goes in like that. Screw it back in. It'll have a grip. You'll know if you have it right or wrong. It'll grip. So then you have to check to make sure you got your links in the right direction. So if this thing is spinning clockwise, all these things are going to be pointing to the right if you're holding it like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and they all will be linking to the respective ball link down here on this wash plate. Just click them back on, one at a time. Tiny, it just clicks right back on. Don't be pushing it too hard. If it's not clicking, if you push too hard, you might break them. Then you have bigger problems. So if it's not clicking, make sure it's aligned. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes you might want to have to walk away. 4. Okay, so this is 4. So you see now the head is back on, and it, as the swash plate goes up and down, your pitch changes. So if you increase the pitch, it goes up, positive pitch and negative pitch. Okay, so next we want to put it back in here. While I'm putting it back here, I want to show you 2 other things. There are 2 bearings here. One on this side, you see that bearing, and one on this side. Sometimes these can go bad. I mean, they will go bad over time, but when that happens, you would notice a little rough vibration. The shaft is going to vibrate a little bit. So that's one culprit. And these are open bearings. So as you can see, that you can see the ball links in there. These are ball bearings. You see the balls exposed. So if any dirt goes in here, or if it rusts over time, this is a problem spot. This is a problem spot. So watch that. So we're going to put this back in. Slide it back in. Nice and straight. Okay. And remember, when you're putting this back, the elevator link is longer than the other 2 sides. So the elevator is in the back. That goes right in there. Okay. So you can put the ball links back. On the servos ball links. That's 1. And this other guy came off. We're going to put it back in. And if you notice, these are at an angle. So you can't go wrong. It's at an angle. So let's put the top one first. Click. Click. And then put this guy in the back. Just pressing it, see? Click. All right, so this is back. Next, we want to put the gear. And as I said, the gear has only one way to go on here. And it's through the groove. The flat side on the flat side. And you just press it in. And it lines up with the motor. Okay? So you make sure that there's no clearance and it's nice and tight. This collar should be pushing down. Okay? And there should be no movement in your shaft up and down. And then you put this other bolt for the gear that you took out back in. That's it. Okay, so that's it. That's all it takes to replace a shaft or a servo or any of these links. Now, if you want to replace one of these blade grips, you'll see there's screws in there. There's screws in there. These screws open up. So if I were to replace 2 of the grips, what I would do is I would come here, take it off of the shaft of the swash plate, just like we did before. Open this. You normally have to replace 2 at a time. You can't do, well, maybe you can replace 1, but sometimes you have vibration issues. You have to make sure they're the same weight. So this just comes off, right? There's a big washer, okay? And this comes off. There's bushings in there. There's no bearings. There's a nice bushing in there. So when you put it back in, what's important is for you to make sure that you don't over tighten this. You can try to put very tiny amount of thread lock in this, very tiny amount at the tip, and it shouldn't have a play. You should tighten it to the point that there's no play, but yet it's smoothly operating, right? So it still has a play. Turn it more. One more. Okay, that's pretty good. I wouldn't put any, take that back. I would not put any thread lock because this is all plastic. You don't put thread lock on plastic on plastic. Do not put thread lock. Just tighten it until the point that it's tight and it moves. Okay, it's still very loose, but it doesn't move out. And put the link back on. It clicks right back on. Okay, so that's it really in a nutshell. Very simple, pretty nice system. I really like this. This is very similar to any of the C187 or C186 helis, probably more improved version. So to put it back together, like I said previously, you have to fit those grooves. This one in the front, and then the one on the top, okay? And probably the easiest thing to do is to put those screws on first, okay? Put those screws on first. So it's, which one is it? There's no screw on this, but there's a screw on here. Let's put this one here. The screws that hold the body in place. Put those on first so that we can get, you don't have to hold it with your hands. See, even one screw is good enough. And make sure it's in the right place. They're all good. Okay. Put another one. Maybe this one down here. Yep. And okay, so that holds it together. Now I remember when I told you about the exhaust. So this is where you have to make sure you hold it in place before you put the sandwich back in. You want to hold this, put it in its slot. It actually has this hole in it. You can see that hole that fits, and it clicks right in to hold it in place. You may not have to put any glue on this. Yeah, it's tiny, so you see this hole has to just fit right in there. Okay, so it fits in, and then you slide your optical flow. Make sure these wires don't get tangled up and cut. Okay, this goes, optical flow slides right in here, right there. And then we take the other half of the helicopter, put the motor on first. line up. I like to do it from the back to forward. Line up this. Oh, forgot the front light. The front light also has a place that it basically holds itself. Let's see how that is. You see the front light. Okay, so the front light kind of sits like this, and once the sandwich goes together, it pushes it in. You start from here to make sure it's in. Okay, that's one. Clicks right in. Very satisfying when they all click back in. Okay, so you have the shells back together, and you proceed with putting the screws in. You're just continuing with putting the screws back. One side at a time. And then on this side, don't over tighten them. As long as it's gripping and it goes, don't over tighten them. As soon as it's hand tight, that's good enough. Otherwise, you're going to strip it. If you strip one, it's not the end of the world. What you can do is you can put some Vaseline or some grease on one of the screws and a tiny bit of epoxy around it, and put it back in the hole. Even if it doesn't screw in, leave it in place like that until it dries, and then it opens right up if you have grease on it. If you don't have grease on it, it's not going to open up. Make sure you have some grease on it before you put the epoxy. But one way to avoid that is by not over tightening these screws. Okay, then I put this guy on first before putting anything else on. You can, if you break this fin, you see how easy it comes with it detached, so that's not a big deal for anyone. So we're almost done. I mean, this is very easy to disassemble and build up back again. I really enjoy these little tiny helicopters. They're great indoors, practicing indoors, or if you're bored in the winter indoors. It's just fantastic. I love these guys. But spring is here, and I'm going to be flying the big birds soon, and I'll have videos of a bunch of builds I have for 600 size scale helicopter models. Roban, Bell 212. I have an MD500E. It's going to have a full scale 5-rotor assembly. cockpit and everything. Really cool. Okay, so that's it. And you proceed by putting the blades back on with the numbers that you have. So, and the blades go, the leading edge of the blade goes the direction of the link to the swash plate. Okay, and tightening these blades, I think on my other videos I've noted you can't make it too tight and it can't be loose either. So you tighten it to a point where, I'll show you, you tighten it down. This is loose. You tighten it down to a point where when you move it, it doesn't swing. It just slides and stops. This is too tight. This is still too tight. This is about right. You see this? I hit it, it stops. Hit it. It's about right. Okay? So you go ahead and do 4 of those. Okay, so everything's back together and ready to start up again. Let's double check to make sure everything works. Okay, bind, bound. So you check your little directions. Everything works. Pitch up, you get positive pitch, positive pitch. Looks good. Start it up a little bit. Shut her down. Great. Looks great. So hopefully this was helpful in those that would need it in case you break something. External stuff is easy. If you break the landing skids, you can obviously replace it by taking these screws off and putting it in. But now you know how to replace the main gear, the main shaft. You know how to replace any of the linkages. You know how to replace a blade grip. You know how to replace the board, servos. So anyways, hopefully this was helpful.